It's that time, folks, to reflect back on the year that's just gone by. So let's get into my top 5 favorite horror films of 2022. Let's get into it. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well out there, and I want to wish you all a very happy new year and welcome to 2023. But we're going to reflect on last year, and I'm going to give you my top 5 favorite horror films from last year. But before we do that, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Join me here, I greatly would appreciate that. Now, you're probably wondering, Brian, why are you doing your top 10 favorite horror films from last year? Well, I looked at everything that was released last year. I looked at everything I'd seen last year, and honestly, I felt I could only really, truly give you my top 5 favorite from last year. There's a bunch of ones I didn't see. There's a bunch of ones I did see that I thought were just middle of the road, okay. So I felt like I'm just going to keep this short and sweet, top 5, and we'll just move on from there. But let's get into this list. My number 5 spot, I'm going to give to a film that surprised the shit out of me when I sat down and watched this. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this one, but this definitely was a surprise for me. Day Shift dropped on Netflix this year, starring Jamie Foxx, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Do I think this is a great film? No, but I had so much fun with it. The story, I mean, there's a lot of elements here we've seen in other films in the past, but I thought they hit the right tone of horror and comedy and action. And there is some really cool action scenes here. And I thoroughly enjoyed this one. So I don't make no apologies about this. I reviewed the full review for this. If you want to check it out, just scroll on down through my reviews from this past year and you'll find it. But yeah, I really enjoyed Day Shift, and I enjoyed it enough for it to make number 5 on my list. So yeah, number 5, Day Shift. You can check it out on Netflix. It's still there. At number 4, 2022's Scream. Now, this was a long time coming. A new Scream film. Our first one's without the late, great Wes Craven. Kevin Williamson came back to executive produce, but he didn't write this film. They brought in a directing duel that directed Ready or Not, which I really love that film. So I was excited with them being involved, and at least Kevin Williamson was back in some capacity. All the legacy characters were back that were still alive. So I was very happy, and the new cast, I was digging who they were hired for it. And when I finally got to see the film, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought this was a very strong Scream sequel and a very strong horror film. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can't wait for the new one in March. So yeah, at number 4, Scream 2022. At number 3, I'm going to go give it to The Black Phone. What a great little supernatural horror thriller. Ethan Hawke gives a great performance as the grabber. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. The Blu-ray is available on Amazon. Just a fantastic film from Scott Derrickson, who gave us Sinister, which was also, the year that came out, was one of my favorite horror movies of that year. But yeah, at number 3, The Black Phone, which I thought was fantastic. At number 2 comes from the same director and co-writer, and that is, at number 2, I'm going to give it to X. Ty West's ode to 1970s exploitation horror films. What if, when I went to see this with my buddy Dale _ from the Bat Spider podcast, I implore you to check those guys out. You can check them out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And I was blown away by that film. I know some people didn't like it, but it really, really worked for me. It creeped me the hell out in some scenes. And I thought it was a great throwback slasher film to a bygone era. And I thought he captured that era beautifully. I thought it was tremendously acted. I was there for the story. And I thought it was going to be my favorite horror movie of the year. But until I just sat down last week and I just reviewed this film, I had to give it to its prequel, Pearl, at number 1. What a fantastic movie, and a totally different type of film than X. Even though it is a horror film, it's more of a character study for sure, though, because it concentrates on Pearl at an early age in her life back in 1918, growing up on her family farm, and seeing her mental state just disintegrate in front of us as she goes from bubbly and happy and more than helpful to just embracing her murderous tendencies. Mia Goth deserves an Oscar nomination. I know she won't get it, obviously, because the Academy typically doesn't give horror the credit it's due, but she definitely gave the best performance I've seen all year from an actress, and she is phenomenal in this film. And when she does go off the deep end and the killing does happen, it is brutal and gory, just like X. I would just say it doesn't happen quite as often as it did in X. But what a fantastic film, and hats off to Ty West and Mia Goth for bringing us this unexpected prequel. I know we're supposed to get a third entry called Maxine, seeing the further exploits of Maxine, the girl who Mia Goth played in X, who escaped the farm with her life. They're supposed to show us her life in the 80s. I think it's supposed to come out sometime this year. I don't think it has a release date yet. But yeah, number one, this movie blew me away. Pearl, if you haven't seen it yet, I implore you to check it out. It's a fantastic, it's slow burn. Don't expect like just wall-to-wall kills. It's a slow burn character study, and we just follow this young woman on her descent into madness, and it's a sight to be seen, and Mia Goth knocks it out of the fucking park. So yes, once again, at number one, Pearl. Quick, my top five. At number five, Day Shift. At number four, Scream 2022. At number three, The Black Phone. At number two, X. And at number one, Pearl. That is my top five favorite horror films from 2022. What are your top five horror films from last year? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share this video. I would appreciate that. I'll be back soon with my top five favorite films overall from last year. Plus, I'll have a review for the Terror Train remake. I'm going to also review the sequel to the Terror Train remake. So stick around for that. I hope you're all doing well out there. And I'll just leave you with bye.